Well, within the analyses, because in the end I think that even though nothing has been observed yet reviewing the sun, only what is known up to the last days of the perihelion when it arrived and the solar probes managed to capture. How is Atlas 13 itself right now? But right now, in a series of investigations, they claim that something strange surrounds this comet, right? According to what they report as it returns. On November 11th, the Lowell Discovery Telescope captured an image that would be key to the object. 3 and Atlas, allowing the analysis of the possible effects of their interaction with the sun. The image, to be precise, is this one. According to what has been analyzed, the deviation of light caused by the solar gravity of 3 and Atlas is measurable. Although much smaller than the anomaly recorded by the ALMA observatory, according to what is reported at the other observatory, there is a deviation of 4 arcseconds from the suggested predicted trajectory, suggesting that there is a non-gravitational acceleration, a characteristic that, as you know, is rare among this type of objects, although MOA also had an acceleration, which, by the way, there are still doubts about what happened with Atlas. Because it was an acceleration where it couldn't be proven the object had gas. I mean, you would have had to see the gas trail for the MOA-like acceleration to happen. That's something that is still being studied and people are still looking into it, still coming up with theories about why what happened with that object happened. This time, what stands out, and this has been confirmed by the ES, pay attention, the waves, pay attention, the Solar Observatory probe, the stereo, which is another stereo eye, and the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite 19, the one they showed. Let me put up the image, or actually the images. The one here is the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite 1. On this side, we have the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, the stereo, and another stereo one. What these images have revealed is that something strange is surrounding the object from the 3 and Atlas. I mean, this layer of brightness it has wouldn't correspond to what would be expected, let's say, for the object. They claim that the glow is unusual and the coloring tends more toward the wavelength of light glow, the coloring. So well, this was also another one of the anomalies, officially identifying 9 anomalies so far. Among them, obviously, what you already know, the retrograde trajectory retrograde, almost aligned in an ecliptic plane, that is, in order to observe certain planets. It seems like planning. They analyzed the odds of this happening by chance and asked, is this... That's nearly mathematically impossible. The probability of something like this happening would be 0.2%. The fact that she also has, well, the antibodies. Well, you already know all about the strange chemical composition of nickel, which is practically pure. The low amount of water is only 4% when usually that's not the case. The percentage is usually much higher. Initially, it was claimed to contain a lot of water, but later it was said it didn't. Some people, like Brian Cosno, later said it contains a lot of water. Well, it turned out that it didn't. It comes from the same region where the famous WOW signal was detected in 1977. All of that has created, well, a sort of mystique, so to speak, around it, right? If we don't see that, if we don't see the expected cloud of mass coming out of the object, it's not possible to understand. The acceleration says the following. Look, if the non-gravitational accelerations were natural, the object would have lost 15% of its mass by now from when we just saw it. But that hasn't happened. It would have needed to create a debris cloud over 5 billion tons, which should be detectable. Yes, now this could still be seen maybe around mid-November and December. If suddenly a big cloud is seen around the object, he says, that's the justification for why it moved. It's still possible that these probes didn't manage to see the moment, let's say, of that cloud because of the position they were in. But the moment it comes out from behind the sun, which would be in about 8 more days on the 8th, no, in 9 more days to be exact, on November 11th, and this one is going to pass behind the sun and it will be observable after those days. It could be earlier or later, depending on the object's acceleration. When it comes out, if it has a spectacular big cloud, you would say, ah, it's the reaction of the chemicals in the comet that's pushing it. And it's perfectly explainable. If it doesn't have that cloud and its mass hasn't decreased, then it must be something stranger, maybe more exotic. Who knows? No, but at least we should keep analyzing this. Let's shift to another topic, geopolitical and international issues. Today, there's a very shocking report. It's a report released by Line. It's a publication that specifically investigates what could happen in North Korea. And it tries to report on situations that you almost never hear about. And these are very harsh reports, sometimes really shocking, that you don't usually see, let's say, because there's terrible censorship in North Korea, right? A series of images is published, one of them from the League North Korea, where they show the crisis situation that North Korea is experiencing. North Korea is facing such an acute food crisis that right now citizens from North Korea are going to certain towns, certain cities to sell their blood in order to feed themselves. In cities like Hamburg, this is the city of ham. If you visit Pyongyang, you'll likely see things looking better, maybe even good, because they'll show you what they want you to see. But if you go to other places, the situation is terrifying. It's really serious. There's a lack of food. The practice of going to donate in order to be able to eat is becoming more and more common. 1 out of every 20 people has been doing this, according to local reports. In exchange for 400 milliliters of blood, donors receive 2 kilograms of cooking oil and 3 kilograms of rice. Just enough to feed a family of 3 for a few days. Some sources reported that in Gyeongyang in the south, the autumn harvest didn't improve food access. There was a harvest, but it wasn't enough. Families are doing practically anything to survive. Donations occur not just in hospitals but also in tuberculosis and hepatitis clinics without sanitary controls. They have been giving out this food in places where multiple things are done. Let's just say not very good things, which I won't mention here, but what I'm getting at is that the situation is terrible. Situations, for example, in Ryonggang, in North Gyeongyang, and in other regions have been confirmed. And that's also with very complicated research, where there is already talk of widespread famine. The situation is extremely difficult to observe. There are leaks, and sometimes people from inside find ways to reveal certain information. But the point is that there is a public health collapse, there is a food collapse where not enough food reaches all the people. There is tremendous deterioration. The situation is even affecting children and the elderly, he says. Humanitarian organizations have warned that right now there is nutritional deterioration among vulnerable groups, especially children and the elderly. External aid remains limited because of government-imposed restrictions. So, you can already imagine where all this is heading, right? And obviously that gets hidden. No, it's not observed. It's not allowed to be observed simply because there are no means that can enter that country. Here are some other interesting reports if you want to watch them. Thank you. Let's move on to other important topics.